Hi, in this video we're going to be looking at how to implement a lift platform for your game. So for my game, I need to implement this movement right here. I need this lift to go up and down, like a normal lift, right? So that my character can be able to reach the higher platform here. So to do that, I would need to know my highest point, right? So the highest point with which I want the lift to be. So in my case, if I say that my highest point is this, right, then in my Y position, this would be 0.95. As you can see in the inspector right here that it's 0.95. My highest point would be 0.95. And let's say that I want my lowest point to be maybe here, right? So as you can see here, my lowest point is equivalent to negative 0.59 in my inspector right here. So my highest point would be 0.95 and my lowest point would be negative 0.59. Okay, with that in mind, let us actually create a script for our lift. Right, so I'm going to create a new script. I'm going to call it lift. Okay, so after creating the script, I'm going to click the script and drag it to my lift object. Eh? So now that when I click my lift object, I'm going to go down here on the inspector on the right. As you can see, this is where my lift script was added, right? It was added on the game object that will be my lift, right? Down here. Right, so now that I've added the script on my game object, I need to go and update its file, right? So I'm going to go to Visual Studio Code, right? And I'm going to and then on my lift script, I'm going to create few variables. So I'm going to say public float max height. All right, so if you remember, my max height or the highest point of my lift was 0.95. So for you, it might be different depending on your needs, right? So for me, my max height is 0.95, and then my min height was 0.59, but negative 0.59. All right. So this is my highest point and my lowest point, right? Where the lift will go in between, right? So it will go from the highest point to the lowest point and from the lowest point to the highest point, up and down. All right. And then it needs obviously a speed. For me, I'm going to create two speeds for this because of the way I implemented my physics. So I'm going to need speed going up, which will be, let's say I name it 0.8. I give it 0.8f. And then my speed going down gonna be 0.003. Say f because this is a float. All right, and then we need a Boolean value to check if I'm still moving upwards, right? I need to check if my lift is moving up or down. So I'm gonna say moving up. Well, it's true at first. All right, and then I need to step, right? I need to step upwards or step downwards using a float value. So I'll initialize my float value to 0 for now, for stepping upwards and stepping downwards. Okay, lastly, I need to create a rigid body. So I'm going to say rigid body 2D, I'm going to call it RB, right? So that I move my object using its rigid body, right? I move my lift using its rigid body. Okay, so I'm going to have to first initialize my rigid body in the start method. Alright, so now let's calculate the motion upwards and the motion downwards. So what we're going to do first is create a variable and call it current position. Okay, this represents the current position of our left, right? We're going to assign it to our rigid body's position. Okay, and then we're going to check if we are moving up, right? And if we're moving up, we're going to do something here, right? And if we're moving down, we're going to do something here too. If moving up, moving down here, and then here we're moving up. All right, so let's implement the logic of that. So firstly, we're going to say our step, right, which is the variable we created here. We initially assigned it to 0. We're going to say our step, right, is equals to the speed up, right, the speed of the lift when it's going up, right, times time dot delta fixed delta time. Okay, and then we're gonna say current position equals to our step, right? But we have to be careful here because we're not concerned with the movement of the script left and right or on the Z position. We're only concerned with the movement of the script, only concerned with the movement of the lift up and down, right? So that's why here in our current position we need to say dot y. All right, so and then we're going to check if our current position dot y is greater than or equals to the max height. Okay, so why are we checking this? It's because when the lift has reached its maximum height, we want it to turn back and go down, right? So what we're going to do, if this is true, is say current position is now equals to, current position dot y, because we're moving on the vertical direction. Current position dot y is equals to our max height, right? And then we're going to say moving upwards is now false, right? Because we don't want to repeat this right here, because now we're moving downwards. So we want to say moving up is false, which means now we're going to go to our else function, right, and calculate our movement downwards. So we're going to do the same things we did here. We're going to say here step, we're going to copy paste this, and then we're going to change the speed here to down, because now we're not moving up, we're moving down. So you're going to say speed down. Okay, and then we're going to leave this like that, the current position dot y like that, and then we're going to have to check again here if our current position dot y is less than or equals to our mean height, right? Because if that's the case, then we need to do the very same thing we did here. We're going to say our current position dot y, but now we'll assign it to mean height because we want to go back up, right? And then we're going to say moving up is now true because we want to move the lift up. All right. And that is it on calculating the movement of the lift upwards and downwards. Now we actually need to move it, right? So you're going to say rigid body dot move position, and we're going to assign it to the current position. All right. And with that, we are finished with our script. This is the script of our lift. Okay. Now let us go back to Unity. So now that our script has been compiled, we can now click on the lift object again and check if our values are up to date. And if you have to change them, you can also change them here, right? You can always change your max height, your mean height, your speed up, your speed down here. But let us actually click play and test it out. Okay, as you can see, my lift is now going. No, as you can see, because it's either moving up or down, but there is no motion here. So let's see what went wrong. So the reason why it didn't go up or down is because here I say that current position dot y is equals to step and current position dot y is equals to step, right? I need to be saying current position dot y plus equals to step, right? So I'm actually incrementing by the steps. Here, because I'm going down, I have to minus the steps. All right. So this is what went wrong, right? I needed to say current position dot y minus step for going down, and then current position dot y minus equals step, plus equals step for position upwards. So this was the error right here. Okay, now let's go back and try again. Okay, as you can see now, my lift is going up. It is now going down again. Although it's a bit jittery, right? You can see here it's a bit jittery in what's going on here. But let's try and fix that too. Okay, so here you can see that I am doing this all on update, right? That is why you see that the script is the lift being jittery. It's because I'm also doing it on update. But we just need to convert this to fixed update. Okay. Alright, so now that we've converted it to fixed update, this should help remove the jittering. Okay. Alright, so you can see now that our lift is working and the jittery has gone. Alright, so I hope that this video was helpful for you. It certainly was for my game. Yeah. Alright, so now let's test this lift. So if you find the video helpful, please like and subscribe, and please give me